How's my hair?
That's good. All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Studio 13 and another fabulous edition of Hank's Think Tank. And you may be asking yourself, what are you doing in Hank's chair? Well, I'll tell you. Today, we're going to interview Hank, and for all his vast knowledge, the IT guru of Southeast Texas, right here, Mr. Hank Vat. Welcome.
Hey!
Yeah, and the crowd went wild.
They did. Well, I don't know if I'm an IT guru, but I've been doing this for a long, long time.
How long have you been doing this, man?
You know, I kind of started way back before Windows, way back before the internet. I worked at a company called Universal Computer Services when I was about 16 years old. And then I went from there, I went to Daniel Industries and worked in the electromechanical department, kind of working on computers, on component level stuff way back then. And just kind of, morphed around. It seems like everything I got involved in had a computer one way or another. And when the internet was just starting to kick off, I had kind of an idea of matching contractor to person who was looking, and with references and things like that. So I started learning programming and databases. And, well, anyway, to make a long story short, it was kind of an Angie's List type thing. But she just...
A referral type?
Yeah, she beat me to the punch. They had more money, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
So, but that process taught me so much, it was crazy. And one day, I came home from work, and there were like 2 or 3 computers on my porch. No names, no nothing. And I started getting phone calls, and people said, "Hey, I dropped my computer off. Can you fix it?" So I started doing that, and that blossomed into a pretty big deal.
So just by word of mouth, people are just bringing their stuff to you because they heard you do a good job putting it back together.
Yeah, and it gave me a real handle on cybersecurity years ago. And another really great job that I had, I worked for a company called Coupon Connection of America. And I was the head of the computer department there. It was a really large network. We had 9 web servers. We served up 25,000 websites. And we had a network that consisted of about 250 nodes. We had a full-blown production studio.
What's
in the
a
basement.
node?
A node is a PC that somebody works at.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a Novell network. We had a really large database. Our database had, I believe it was close to 400,000 entries. So, I mean, everything was really big. And this was in the 90s when things were really starting to take off on the internet. And when I walked into the department, our department made $0. And I was there for 2 years. And when I left, we were clearing about $3.5 million annually. So we did really good. And the cool part is that gave me a real firm grip on cybersecurity.
Yeah, some real life situation.
Because we were doing things back then that have since really taken hold now. I mean, we were kind of the first company to start gathering big data on people and selling that data.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So and if you stayed up late at night and you watched any of the infomercials with Brad Richdale and all those get-rich-quick guys, and that was us producing all those videos.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we were selling distributorships and websites and merchant accounts and you name it.
Well, that's what it's all about now, right?
Yeah.
You are a walking consumer, and how are we going to put our stuff in front of your face?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Hank.
So, and we were involved in a lot of that, and I stayed there until the Attorney General's office came in and shut us down. And when they came in and said, "Hey, we're going to need all the passwords to everything and just go ahead and go home for the day," I just never went back.
What brought all that on?
Well, we were doing things that weren't quite legal. I mean, and, the upper management knew it, and I had no say in it. I was just running my department.
This is the Attorney General of Texas?
Yeah. Yeah. And, so, and we knew we were, being investigated by the AG's office. I had already gotten wind of it, that they may show up anytime. And if they did, just to give them whatever they needed and everything was going to be cool.
They've been getting letters for a little while at that point.
They've been getting complaints and things like that.
Okay.
What I didn't know was that database that we had, that we would sell lists to Brad Richdale and all those guys back and forth, and those lists would have maybe 25, 30,000 names, addresses, phone numbers, annual income, other pertinent data to us trying to sell that individual something. But what I didn't know was that a lot of times they weren't cutting off that credit card information. So they had that credit card data still attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were one of the big data people, and I think that's where they eventually hung them out at.
Yeah.
I never really got back to find out what charges were brought.
Too much private information.
Yeah, but I know CCOA was kind of slowly brought down, and I don't even know if they operate under that name anymore or whatever. But at the height of, everything that was going on there, man, that was a popping company. There was a lot going on. We were constantly down at the production studio. I learned a whole lot there, and it was an exciting experience for me, even though it wasn't working for quite the right people and doing what I would consider by today's standards a moral job.
You learned a lot, right? The breaking of the egg and the hatching of all of this going on.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
Early mid-90s.
Yeah. About 94, 93, 95, 96
Mm-hmm.
was more of it. Yeah, because the internet was just popping off and everybody wanted a website. And, it was, and we had designed a whole thing called You on the Net, where you could go on and you could pick a template, you could pick your images, you could write your text, and you could kind of point around and build yourself a website without having to know any programming language or anything.
Right.
And it was out of our hands too, which was cool. So you paid us X amount of dollars, we gave you username and password, you're in, you did what you wanted. If you needed a merchant account, we attached that to it too, and then you were free to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hosted, like I said, over 25,000 of those websites. I mean, it was a tough business to keep it all running, but we kept it all running, and I thought we did pretty well. So that was part of the experience that I had. And then after I left there, we started taking care of commercial clients. So small, medium-sized networks, and just setting things up and getting people to, have the ability to work. And if somebody needed to print from downstairs or something like that, and they wanted to print to the big printer upstairs, we'd, map things like that together. And just your basic administration until probably about 2003 or 4, when things started to heat up and we started to have to know what we were doing, and have to know how to protect a network. Viruses were a big deal back then. Hacking wasn't so much a big deal as it is now. Big data collection wasn't so much a big deal as it is now, but it was all antivirus work back then.
Right.
And we had a fun time with it.
There's lots of different kinds of viruses.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm no expert, but I've heard of Trojan horses and different kind of worms and things that would attach themselves to your computer.
Yeah, and the cool part was back then, not many of them were designed to steal money from you. Back then, it was just to screw your network up.
Yeah.
Just to lay it out so they could put their exploit on the website and say,
Right.
hey, Jesus Christ or whatever they call themselves would say, they exploited X network and here's how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be up to us to figure out a way to close those holes.
Right.
So I learned a lot in that process.
Right. It's a whole lot more sophisticated now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a whole lot more riding on it now, too.
Today's ball game's completely different. I was looking at the stats today, and as of 2020, a total of $4.8 billion was stolen from your average consumer. And people over 50, and this is the big target, guys, people over 50. People over 50, 1.2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Last year. That's not over a period of 10 years. That's last year.
Yeah.
And that's $1.2 billion of hard-earned money, of people on fixed incomes, of people who can't afford that kind of shit.
Right.
And the thing that most people don't realize now is this is our new form of warfare.
Mm-hmm.
These are all state-sponsored situations. They have big call rooms.
There's not a government on this planet that doesn't have a team of people geared for this.
Right.
And it may not be for totally nefarious purposes. It might be for defense purposes, that kind of thing. But just look at the events in the past couple of weeks with our energy supply on the East Coast, the meat supply. And those were, as far as I was told, ransomware type attacks.
Yeah, and they got paid.
Yeah.
Even though the FBI, their legal stance is, we don't pay ransomware. There's no other way around it usually.
Right.
Because what these guys will do, they'll go in, they'll hit your backups first, and if you have good backups, then they'll screw up your ability to back up over a period of time, and they'll wait. So they know you've got bad backups.
They got all the time in the world.
Yeah, they got all the time in the world. They encrypt your data. It's 128-bit encryption at the least. And so who can defeat that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to continue to operate and you need your data back, you're going to go out and buy some Bitcoin. That's all there is to it. It's the way it's going to happen.
So is that the way around it?
Yeah.
Crypto coin?
I mean, that's what they're wanting paid in. You know, there was a municipality that we deal with that got hit, and everything was encrypted on their network. They were locked down. There was no way to continue.
By the time they realized it?
Oh, yeah. And they did it over a holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we get called in to do the forensics. We go in, we do the forensics, get in touch with the FBI, let them know, hey, this is our situation. And this is a small municipality, but it's still a city government, you know, which includes a police department. Now, the police department had a separate network, and their network wasn't really affected just because of the way things were set up. But they're still under the same roof, so the threat was still there. So the city government's affected. And, you know, the FBI told us, I said, look, our legal position is you do not pay these guys. But if you don't pay them, you're never going to get your data back. And so, you know, what we did was we emailed, and the guy left us an email that had hacked into the network. You know, emailed him and said, hey, what do you want? How much do you want? He gave us an amount, which, and I don't want to say I thought it was reasonable, because when you're ripping somebody off, no amount is reasonable.
Right.
But for what he could have asked versus what he asked for, I thought it was reasonable. And so city council got together, they made the decision, and next thing you know, we're out buying Bitcoin.
That's what he wanted to get paid
That's
in.
what he wanted paid in.
Untraceable.
Yeah. Right. So, you know, we got the FBI involved, and we made sure that they were CC'd in on every email and, you know, blind copied and everything else. And so they were able to follow the Bitcoin wallet somehow. Now, they couldn't find out whose wallet it was, but they were able to follow the wallet. And we found out, I think 6 or 8 weeks down the road, that Bitcoin wallet was valued at $21 million. That's a freaking lot of money that this guy was using. And it was a Russian-based, state-sponsored hack. And just they knew a lot about it, but they never could get down to who the individuals were.
How do you know that it was state-sponsored and not some just individual shithead?
Well, because what we did was we took all of our forensics material and we sent it off to the FBI labs. The FBI takes all that apart, and they can take a look at it. And it has certain markers of other viruses or other methods by which they were able to encrypt. And this one was just had Russian markers.
Right.
And so they knew it was out of Russia, and therefore state-sponsored.
Anything out of Russia, the Kremlin knows about.
And I think America also probably has state-sponsored hackers, but I don't think that our hackers are ripping off the Russian public, you know, like these other ones are.
Right.
I think our cause might be a little different. You know, we might want to be able to hack into their lighting grid or their electrical grid or something like that, just so in case they hit ours, we can hit theirs.
At least we can turn a switch in defense, right? And say, okay, you really want to play this game?
But these guys they're hitting us where it hurts, and they know that it hurts us financially.
Right.
You know? But the thing that I really wanted to talk about today was, you know, when you think of cybersecurity, the first thing you think of is your keyboard, mouse, and your monitor. You're thinking of your computer.
Right. At home.
At home. But this is what you need to be afraid of.
Exactly.
Right here. Now, most people don't realize that 70% of their communications comes from their phone. And your phone is your worst enemy and your best friend as far as cybersecurity goes. And most people don't realize the battle that's being fought on these phones right now. And if you want to talk about big data collection,
right,
every phone out there has a SIM identifier and an IMEI number. You combine those two together, that gives you the key for this particular phone. Turn it off. Lay it down and start talking about the fact that you want to buy chimney caps. I did this. Spend the next day talking about how badass chimney caps are. I want to buy a chimney cap. I want a 10-inch chimney cap. I want it to have this and that and the other. You know, I think I'm going to buy one here. And just mention chimney caps. Then turn your phone back on and wait and see how many ads come
for
up.
Chimney caps. For 10-inch ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think everybody's noticed that and talked about it. And I swear to God, man, I have just thought about something. Driving by and I see something. Man, Dodge Challenger. Sure would like to have a Dodge Challenger. And just think it. I'm not searching. I'm not stopping in. I'm not filling out a form. Those damn things know what we're thinking, because I'll get Dodge Challenger ads.
Yeah. Well, I love talking to people about putting a passcode on their phone because they always say the same thing. I don't do anything on my phone. I don't pay any of my bills on my phone. I don't have a whole bunch of banking apps on my phone. You know, I don't need a passcode on my phone. Plus, it's a hassle. I don't want to sit there and punch blah, just to get my phone to open up so I can answer a phone call or whatever. Here's the deal. This thing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year without fail, take a look at it. First of all, you can't take the battery out of it. Battery's built in. And that's by design.
I can take my battery out, but I've got an old ancient thing.
Well, you've got a great phone then. But like an iPhone, can't remove the batteries. A lot of the new Androids can't remove the batteries.
Why?
It's by design.
I know, but why?
Because they want this thing to be constantly screaming to the nearest cell tower, here I am, here I am.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, and you think about the fact that it's not only asking for that and your phone's going, here I am, but it's recording all that. Yep. And it's matching it to your IMEI number and your SIM identifier as well. So it may not know it's Mark Hogan or Hank Vat, but it knows this phone number, and it follows you wherever you go. So if you carry your phone with you everywhere you go, you're creating an actual pattern for your life. And so that data can be looked at and they can say, well, this guy goes to the same office every day. He gets on the same Wi-Fi network every day. He must work there. Well, let's take a look. What all is in that building? You know? And through easy efforts, so much of your life can be figured out just by the fact that you have a phone. We ain't even picked it up and started to use it yet. It's just having it. You know? That's just having it with you. That's it.
Right.
Well, now when you start using it, you're in trouble.
I've told people quite often that what you think is a cell phone, it's a handheld computer with a phone app on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these things are just as powerful as your home PC.
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about it, and you think about the Space Shuttle Challenger that was launched, of course it blew up, but the other ones too, it took, I think they said 18% of the computing power to launch that thing than the average phone has today. 18%. So these things are powerful as shit, man. They do a lot.
Yeah.
You know? So then you've got apps. Have you ever had an app that wants you to allow your location awareness?
All the time.
Okay. Same thing, man. So now the app's got you. And the app's following you around everywhere you go. So, and they're building a profile. But they've got your username and password. They have a little bit more information than your cell phone provider does. Because you've logged into that app.
Right. And if you use that password, because it's easy to remember one password for several different applications, it's easily figured out.
There you go.
They can sell it to someone else.
So you got your app, you're constantly going to the same stores, you're constantly purchasing the same things, and they're building a profile. So they know what ads to send you that you're more than likely to get.
And not only apps on your phone, but brick and mortar stores that you go to. You go to drugstore, CVS. Are you a member of our savings? Fill this out, and then all you got to do is punch in your number, and you'll save $1 every time you come in.
And what most people don't realize is that all of these things have nothing of value to offer you. Not a damn thing of real value will you ever get offered for nothing. It's just not there.
Right. Well, they're not going to lose, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're not going to offer you this big discount and all this other stuff just because you're filling out, one of the worst things, and I used to do this to people. You pissed me off. You know those things where you go and you can fill out a form and put it in and win a gym membership or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would do that.
Email address and everything.
Absolutely.
You put someone else's information in front of those.
Absolutely. That's the way to go. If they piss you off, man.
And they'll start getting phone calls every other day.
You start filling out everything you can in their name.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this. So your worst enemy really, in any case, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, is your email. And everybody says the same, I don't do anything on my email. I get messages from Mary. I get emails from Tom. And Bill sends me jokes every day. And, of course, the bank notifies me when they make little changes and stuff like that. But other than that, I really don't do any business on email. Bullshit. Go ahead. Log on to your VPN. Introduce your computer to its antivirus software. Get your Malwarebytes stuff going. Protect yourself as much as you can. Slip that body condom on, and then wait for Mary to send you that attachment that's got a PDF in it that's infected with a virus.
Right.
As soon as you click on that attachment, you're done.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of people say, okay, Hank, well, what do I do? You know? The best way to protect yourself with email is to check. So if you get an email with an attachment from someone, pick up the phone, and I know this sucks. I know it does. But believe me, you'll be so happy you did it because you'll never be infected by anything. Pick the phone up and call and say, hey, Bill, did you send me an attachment? Because I got an email from you that says there's an attachment with a funny video about a dog. Did you send that? And if Bill says, yeah, I sent it, then you're pretty much okay to probably open it. Now, if you have the correct antivirus software, it's going to sweep it real quick before you open it. So you should be covered. But you'd be surprised how many attachments companies get all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when they call, we never got that attachment.
Right.
You know,
I work for a big real estate company, and they seem to be on top of cybersecurity as far as their work emails, and everything is a program from work orders to putting your time in. I mean, we got a lot of information on these different programs.
Right.
And they make us change our password quite often, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And but you'll still get on your company mail stuff that looks funny.
Yeah.
And every now and then someone clicks the attachment.
Right.
It'll be something as simple as don't forget the big summer bash, and all the employees are going to be there, and be sure your name's on this list. And they're
good.
going, I don't want to miss the summer bash with all my buddies, and it's over.
Yeah.
So you know your IT guy at your place, because he wants to see that.
Yeah.
And I'll just forward those things without even clicking on it. If the title looks funny, I'll send it to him. Hey, if it's a mistake, he can say, don't worry about it.
There you go. Yeah, so that's always a good thing to do. So I have a pet peeve, though. I have something that just really pisses me off, and it's really common these days. I have a lot of friends who have been hit by this. One lady in particular who lost almost all of her life savings over one of these things. And guys, I want you to know something right now. No one from Microsoft, the Social Security Administration, the Sheriff's Office, the FBI, or any other big entity will ever call you on your phone and tell you that there's a problem.
Right.
They won't do it. I mean, it's not going to happen. And if you ever get a call and there's somebody on the line that says, we're getting ready to re-up your subscription, it's going to cost $300, it's going to come out of your bank, press 1 to cancel, you're in trouble. As soon as you press 1, they've already won. So nothing of value will ever come from a phone call like that. Now, a legitimate phone call will always start with something that you recognize. Like if you have an account with Bank One, it'll be Mary from Bank One. She will call you by your name. None of these other people ever call you by your name. They don't say, hey, Mr. Vat, this is Tom from Bank One, and I've got an issue I need to talk to you about. If you get a call like that, it may be legitimate, but you still need to be careful. But they'll call you by name if it's legit. They'll have information about you if it's legit. If you ever want to know if somebody's legitimate, ask them straight out. Say, all right, you're saying there's something wrong with my credit card. Which credit card is it? And wait. And if they can't come up with which credit card, or they want you to verify something, well, you need to verify your Social Security number before I give you credit. Say, look, man, you called me. I didn't call you, you know? So you've got to be able to make sure they have account information and that account information is correct. If it's wrong, hang up on them. Better yet, don't hang up on them. Stay on the phone with them. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I'm going to get around to that. But there are so many scams that are by phone call that sound legit that it blows me away. I get new ones at least once a week. And what I used to do is I'd keep these people on the phone as much as I possibly could, especially the one where they said your Social Security number is going to be locked. It's like, what? What do you mean Social Security number is going to be locked? And I knew right off the bat, you know, it's a Middle Eastern accent. There's a guy named Bill with a Middle Eastern accent that's got bad grammar, and he's going to tell me my Social Security number is going to be locked.
I got Timmy from China.
Yeah,
told
and
me
I
the same thing.
I need to stay on the line, and so I wait on the line. Guy gets on, and the first thing he wants is my name. I'm like, you called me. You said my social security number is going to be locked. What's my name? You know? Oh, we need to verify. I can't give you that for security purposes. I'm like, what?
Right.
You got me out of
They're
your
worried
mind.
about security.
Yeah, they're concerned about security. If you start giving these people information, you might not think you're doing a bad thing, but as soon as you give them anything, it sets that ball in motion, and before you know it, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
and they will prey on the older population.
Exactly.
Because they have they've been working all their life and they got the money.
And we weren't brought up with this shit. All this is
they
new to
are
us.
not savvy on a lot of different things like that.
Even me. I'm in the business, and I learn something new freaking every day. It's impossible not to, you know. But we weren't brought up with this. It's not normal for us to have a cell phone attached to us, to have a computer, have the internet. This is something that all of us.
Yeah, by the mid-90s, I was over 30 years old.
Yeah, we're still learning all this stuff. We're still figuring it out, you know. So you get these guys, and I thought to myself, okay, the best thing that I can do is keep these fuckers on the phone. And the reason why is because if they're talking to me and I'm bullshitting with them, and I'll start giving them wrong information. You know, I'll tell them my name is Steve Stewart from this place, and here's my social security number, and they'll Google it while they're on the phone and try to get a match to who you're telling them you are.
Right.
That way they're giving you back a little bit of legitimate information, and it sounds good. So if you give them your correct name and you give them your address, or you give them even the city you live in, they'll come back with your address because they're Googling it right there. You know, they think we're stupid, and we're not. We're just uneducated about what to do in these situations. And so that's why I'm trying today to talk a little bit about what to do in these situations. So my thought was, I'm going to keep these guys on the phone, and the reason why is because if they're talking to me, they're not ripping money off from my friends who don't know what to do.
Right.
You know? Well, the more I did that, the more I realized I started getting more and more calls. I was like, okay, so they're running lists just like we used to do at Coupon Connection.
Here's a
America.
hot one who'll talk to you.
That's it.
Bam.
He'll talk to you. You might be able to get through to him. So they trade all these entities. They'll sell these lists. You got to think it's 100,000 names or more. You know, and names are expensive, man. They might go for a dime a piece. So they're making money just trading data.
Sure.
You know. So you get on this list. Now here, I'm going to tell you folks how to get off the list, because this is how you get off it. As soon as these people call you up, and as soon as they start talking, and the new one out now is that you got an order from Amazon. It's always going to be $300 or $400. It's going to be a different product. It's going to be a TV, or it's going to be mine yesterday was an iPhone 11, I think it was, and it was $900 and something, and there was a problem with the order. Hold on while they dispatch somebody to talk to me about it. And the instant that I got on the phone with them, the first thing I said was, all right, so the Social Security Administration wasn't enough. And then, you know, locking down this and that and the other wasn't enough. And then hitting me on this wasn't enough. And so now you're going to try to hit me through my Amazon account. And I just cussed them out. And I got firm, I cussed them out, and I let them know that I knew they were scamming me. What do they do then?
Hung up on you.
They'll drop your name off the list because they don't want to waste their time with it. They want to move on.
You just went to the lowest category.
That's right.
And you're not valuable to them.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
This motherfucker knows. Take him off the list.
Yeah.
You know, don't. And then that way, you'll start dropping. And the more that you attack these, because this is war, and you need to don the habiliments of war. I mean, you really do. And get firm with these people, get nasty with them, call them what they are. They're thieves, they're rip-offs, they're some bitches. That's what they are. That's what they need to be called.
Well, they're on Facebook, too. I'm in different groups, guitar groups and gun groups and all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And every one of them has these little things that drop in quite often.
Yeah.
Probably every day. And they got admins that are supposed to watch that, but they can't sit there on the computer. They're working.
Right.
The first one to type yes gets $10,000.
Yeah.
You know, and you would be surprised at all the different responses. Yes, 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 begging for that $10,000.
People still think there's
man.
something for nothing. There is no free lunch.
That
There ain't free
Facebook is
lunch.
the worst.
Yeah.
You've heard of the cloning thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get another friend request from somebody, that you're already friends with.
Yeah.
And you click on it, and they've got 4 friends that are also your friends, but they're only got 4, or they should have 300. But it's amazing to look at.
Yeah, you got to look at the profile, man.
The profile
yeah.
is exactly the same with the pictures.
And if you start scrolling through that profile and there's no posts and it ends pretty quickly, and then go to the about, and if there's nothing in about, just delete it.
I was driving along one day, and I bet this has happened to hundreds of people. And I started getting phone calls as I'm driving. Hey, man, I just got a friend request from you. Was that from you?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't from me. And I'm getting messages. Hey, I just got another friend request. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Or a notification. So-and-so accepted your friend request, and we're already friends. I knew something was up, so I pulled over, and I saw what happened. Someone just stole my page, and they were hitting everybody in my contact list. And so I just made a post on my Facebook page. It was a mess to clear up.
Oh, yeah.
I big bold letters. Hey, if you get another friend request from me, it's not me. I'm still here. That's not me. And then they had all the, is this really you? Is this the real you? Yes, it's the real me. How do I know? Oh, my God, it was awful. On the side of the damn road.
Yeah.
One of my buddies did not get the message. This is weeks later. He calls me up at work. Dear friend, I've known him since like 1991.
Yeah.
We used to work together. Tight buddy. Never had an argument with this guy. Never seen him angry, but he was pissed when he called me. I could tell he was holding himself back. He says, Mark, I'm going to ask you one time. Why are you messaging my wife? And I'm like, dude, I'm not messaging your wife at all. He goes, I'm sitting here looking at it. You're messaging her on Facebook Messenger, trying to sell her real estate. What the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
It took a while to calm him down and convince him that what happened, and it wasn't me talking to his wife, and thank God they were just trying to sell her real estate, and thank God she didn't buy any.
Yeah. Yeah, Facebook's rough business. I mean, really, social media is altogether, and most of our clients have dropped completely out of social media just because it's so open to attack.
Yeah,
it's bad. So, but anyway, back to the phone calls that you'll be getting, because if you get on this list, that list will get sold. You'll be called by different people, and it's warfare is what it is, and this is the newest thing that's out there, and all they want to do is steal your money. There is nothing of value. If somebody calls you've never heard of before, there is absolutely nothing of value they have to offer.
Right.
They're not going to save you from anything. Your social security number is not in detriment. There aren't any charges pending against you with the sheriff's department. The FBI doesn't have you under investigation. All these things are false, and you can't let these people scare you. So as soon as you hear this, as soon as you hear it, telling you, don the habiliments of warfare and think to yourself, I am going to viciously cuss this person out and get off this damn list. And that's the best thing you can do. Call them out. Tell them they're ripping people off. They need to go get a job. They need to be a respectable part of society. Say whatever you want to say. I get pretty vicious with these guys, and I get loud. I'll do it in a restaurant. I don't care where I'm at. Because number one, I want to be off the list. And number two, I want these son of a bitches to know that we're not stupid in this country. And that's what it's kind of coming down to, is they think we're idiots. And the reason why I think this is because I've actually gotten to talk to a few of these. I managed to get through their defenses, kept them on the phone. One guy in particular, I said, hey, look, I know you're making money, and I'm a 57-year-old guy. I've got no future, and I want to make money too. So tell me how I get started doing what you're doing. And I kept them on the phone for about an hour.
Really?
Yeah. And they told me how they're trained. They told me how their lists work. He told me everything, And at the end of the conversation, I was overwhelmed and pissed off at the same time.
Did you ask him for his email address so that you could send him some more?
He wasn't about to do it. He said he was going to talk to his supervisor, whoever, and they were going to call me back. And they never called back.
Right.
But, he was telling me, he said, he goes, Americans are idiots. He said, y'all will fall for anything. And that's why we do this. And I was asking them how much money they make, and they make a tremendous amount of money. You know, because they
there's got to be a pretty good percentage of people that fall for it,
and
or they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and if you listen in the background, you can hear it.
Oh, it's a boiler room of people.
Huge call center.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how much it costs to put a big call center together?
Well, beside the rent and the power and paying every person in there.
Yeah, but with the robot callers and all that kind of stuff, you know, and the automated messaging and everything else, because like when somebody answers the phone, they immediately send that to the next available operator. I mean,
that's why when I get a call from a weird number, I have to answer it, because in my business, it could be a number that I'm not familiar with. We could have a fire alarm going off somewhere. It could be a manager somewhere that needs my help. They're in a bind. I got to answer it.
Right.
And sometimes it's like, hello, I'm about to give up. And then someone will pop on the line.
Yeah.
With a crowd of people around him.
Yeah, because you're in queue. That's it. You're just, your phone call's in queue.
Can I speak to Mark? Who's this? Well, this is Fred, and I just want to warn you that your warranty is about to run out on your 04 Tahoe.
Such bullshit.
Yeah.
And another one that I get all the time is from a place called Senior Benefits, where they want to sell me a burial plot.
I bet you AARP is selling the list of all the people.
And I tell them the same thing every time. Say, no need for a burial plot. I'm never going to die. You know? I tell them that. And when they say, sir, you're going to die, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay alive for the sole purpose just to screw you people over.
The only vampire that I've ever met, right here. Yeah.
Exactly. But you can usually tell the numbers will be spoofed. You know, I have actually gotten calls from my own number. It's like, what in the hell? You know, you look at the caller ID and it's your number, but the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a story to tell you. So I'm at work one day, and I had just gotten off the phone with my wife. We're talking and everything. And I picked up the phone again to call her back, and I looked at it, and it said, phone needs activation. I thought to myself, what? So I figured I wasn't getting signal. So I walked around the property a little bit and kept looking at it, and phone needs activation. I was like, what in the hell? And I couldn't make any phone calls, and nothing was working on it. I'm like, well, it was working 10 minutes ago. Keep in mind, folks, I'm an IT person. I do this for a living.
So it gave you an out, right? What did it say?
It just said need to be activated right on the home screen. Right there. Phone needs activated.
It didn't tell you to push here, click this, or
no. It just said it needs activated, like it was just dead.
Okay.
You know. So I go to my employee and said, "Hey man, let me use your phone. I need to call my wife." You know. So I called my wife up, and I said, "Hey, look, there's something wrong with my phone, and our phone bills are paid, just they get ACH'd out of our bank account." I said, can you check with the bank and see if there's something wrong, and maybe the phone bill didn't get paid, maybe they turned it off or something, you know? Mm-hmm. So she says, yeah, hold on. So she gets into the bank account and immediately starts to panic because there's a $25,000 wire transfer that's going through somewhere pending right then and there. So she's like, I got to call the bank. I got to let you go. I said, all right. So
holy crap. Yeah.
So she gets in touch with the bank, and this is when this whole thing unfolds, okay? And to make a long story short, here's what happened. Somehow, these hackers found out what my phone number was. Maybe it was through an email. I don't really know. I never did find out how they got my phone number. They got my phone number, and they called my telephone provider, which was T-Mobile. And they said, hey, this is Hank Vat. I lost my phone. I've got a new one. Here's my SIM card identifier number. Can you please move my phone number, port it over to this new phone so I'll be back at business? This is screwing me up. So T-Mobile says, absolutely, sir, no problem. We're here to serve you. So they moved it over there, right? These guys immediately go online and they go for my bank account, right? Because after the phone started working,
they got to hurry up before you snap.
Now, here's the cool part. Because of the way iPhones work and it backs up all your data, all they did was downloaded everything. So they knew what apps were there. And I have a Bank One
They
app.
had your phone in their hand.
Yeah, they had my phone in their hand. And so they had all my emails, all my texts, everything else, you know? So,
all your friends, all your contacts.
Yeah, so they get online and try to log in my bank account, but they didn't have the username or password. So they click on forgot username or password. And what does the bank do? Because they have two-factor authentication. They said, look, need to send a code to your phone. You verify that code, we'll give you a new password.
The old code to the phone.
That's
Foolproof, right?
Two-factor authentication. And you know the government requires for a lot of their systems now,
Yeah.
they require two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
That proved to me it doesn't work. You know, at least not all the time.
Certainly not foolproof.
Right. So they get into our bank account. Well, Jackie's on the phone with the bank explaining to them what's going on because she was watching all this happen in real time while she's on the phone with the banker, and the banker is too, you know. And fortunately, they got all that stopped. So these guys start going through my email. They said they saw that I had a credit card that I hadn't yet activated. So they activated the credit card, started making purchases. If I wouldn't have called my wife in just a few hours, they would have had us cleaned out.
Drained.
Oh, yeah. Bank account. I mean, and not some of it, all of it.
And not only you're missing your assets, but you got to fix it. And you got to convince all these.
And then the other bad part is you feel like you've been raped because now they have every text you've sent. They got all your pictures. I take pictures inside my home. I take pictures of networks that I work on. I take pictures of all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. They got all your pictures. They got all your emails. They literally have your life. I mean, because everything you do, there you go. Everything you do is on your phone.
Right.
So they got it all, you know. So
what do you recommend?
So hang on. So I get angry about this. I'm like, well, son of a bitch. This all started because they were able to port my number while my phone was still working.
Yeah.
So I
I
called my provider and I said, look, this is Hank Vat, and y'all ported my number earlier today, and I need you to port it back to my phone, and I need you to do it right now. And I had even called my number, and these people were laughing at me on the phone. Called it from another phone, and they were laughing. They'd pick it up and just start laughing, you know. So you could imagine how freaking angry I was.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But, you know, this is like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm already really, really highly pissed. Okay, so anyway, I call my provider, and the lady on the phone, she says, well, let me call your number. I said, okay, yeah, do that. Call my number. So she calls it. She puts me on hold, calls it. She comes back. She goes, sir, I'm glad to report to you your phone's working fine. Somebody answered. They were laughing. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm on the phone with you now. Did I answer the phone? She said, no, you didn't, but somebody did, so it's working fine. Like, no, it's not.
The complaint wasn't that it wasn't working.
And I ended up calling her a dumb bag of dust because we went around for like 30 minutes with me trying to explain to her, look, you're calling it and it works, but it's not me, you know? And I can prove that I'm me because I'm me. You know? So,
yeah.
So anyway, she elevates the phone call to the second tier. I get on with second tier. They're like, well, what's the matter, sir? You're unable to send text? I said, no, that's not it. And I tried to explain to second tier. It took me about 6 hours to finally convince an individual there what had happened. And I said, look, I've been with you people since, I think it was 2001. I said, I'm getting ready to dump y'all. I'm not going to have nothing to do with this phone company no more. So finally, they ported my phone back that evening, okay? And I told them, I said, okay, from this point forward, you're going to have to guarantee me that you've got some security that somebody just can't call up and port the number. So he says he added it. And I'm not going to say online what we added, but I did call back 2 days later and tested it. I said, hey, this is Hank Vat, and I lost my phone, but I've got a new one, and I need you to port it over. And the first thing they asked was for that code that I gave them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave them a wrong one, and they immediately said, sorry, sir, there's nothing we can do for you. Have a nice day, and hung up. And I waited another couple days and called back again, same situation. But that security isn't enabled by default with some providers. So you asked, what can you do? Go to your provider and make that kind of a call. Say, I've lost my phone, but I have another one. Can you port the number over for me and see what they say?
Yeah.
If they're just willing to do it, you got a big problem.
Right.
You know?
If they're willing to do it, then what do you say to them?
If the next thing they ask for is your SIM card number, tell them, say, look, why would you ask me for my SIM card number without asking me a security question first? And that's the way I'd put it.
Yeah.
And then tell them you want to speak to the manager and you want to go one level up and you need to keep moving up until you know that you're that your phone situation has been secured on their end. There's no other way to really handle it other than that.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing you need to do is, and I know it sucks, put a passcode on your phone. Because when these guys would have downloaded the information, they would have downloaded what? The passcode. If they didn't know the passcode, they'd be screwed. But at that time, I didn't have a passcode on my phone. And I'm willing to admit it. I didn't have a passcode. It was too much of a hassle for me. Since then, I've put a passcode on my phone and I keep it on my phone.
It's probably a good idea to change that once in a while too, ain't it?
Every 90 days, you need to change your passcodes and your password.
I've had passcodes that were a 4-digit number, which I don't know the mathematics of that, but they can put that through a computer and you can just try everything.
Oh yeah, brute force attack can knock that out in no time flat.
Yeah, and then like a shape, like on one phone when I had to make a shape, it was a Z.
Yeah.
It's something easy to do.
Yeah.
It'd take them about 0.3 seconds to figure that one out.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
It's pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty quick. And the tools are out there. I mean, you can get online right now and look for hacking tools. Just Google it, and you'll have a million results.
Oh yeah,
they're there.
You can do that. And you can find out how to build a bomb and
right. All the hacking tools you ever wanted are there.
Yeah.
So the new requirements now. There's a place called NIST. It's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and the SP is SP 800-171, and that's what we deal with government agencies. Is they have to be compliant, and they have to be 110% compliant, not 89, not 98, 110. And if we can't meet a 110 compliant, we come up with what's called an SSP, which is System Security Plan, and that System Security Plan has to denote exactly what date we will be 110% compliant. And they'll check. They'll come audit us. Well, within that compliancy, what they recommend is that your password be a complex password, meaning you have uppercase letters, lowercase letters, a number, and a special character.
Certain length too, probably.
The length used to be 8 characters long, but the brute force technology is really great now. So now they're wanting it to be 14 characters long, because that's the next set of encryption bits, I believe. And so need to have it about 14 characters long. Now, what everybody does, and I've been guilty of this myself, is I use the same password for a bunch of different stuff. I found a great way to stop doing that.
Lay it on me, man.
There's a free piece of software out there called Keypass, Keepass. And what it is it is a program that manages all of your passwords. And it encrypts all of your passwords with 128-bit encryption so it can't be hacked. You need one password, that's it. So you have one password to unlock Keypass, then you can look up all your passwords for everything you've got. And so you can put in there, my banking password is this, and it encrypts that. My Amazon password is this, and encrypts that. You can put notes in, usernames, passwords, and as many as you want. And you'll have one master password that you have to remember.
Well, I have no reason to doubt the IT guru of Southeast Texas. But he's in your chair. My flags are going off already to give one entity all my passwords. I know they're encrypted. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it, but I know it's a good thing and makes it unhackable.
But it's not a cloud solution. So it's something you download. And I believe there's an app for your phone, and I know there's an app for the PC. So it's something you download and you extract, and that's it. So once it's encrypted, the only way you're ever going to get into it is with the master password. So if you forget the master password, you're done. So you're not going to get your passwords out of it. But it's a great way to keep and manage passwords.
Did it cost anything?
No, it's free. Especially if you're using complex passwords. And when I say complex password, you never want to use two words like boat hook or stereo cube or anything like that. You don't want to use dictionary words at all. You want stuff that makes no sense.
Right.
Space bar, $sign.
I've noticed that with the Studio 1.3 stuff.
Yeah. It's just a complex password that means
completely
absolutely
random.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can brute force still take it out? Oh yeah, absolutely, if they work with it long enough. But now you got to think about also, why would they? Now, if Studio 1.3 had a whole bunch of assets and was worth a whole bunch of money, and they knew they could get at that money by hacking a password, they may take the time to do it. But these crooks are slick, man. They're not going to sit there and let a brute force machine run for a password that isn't going to get them nothing. You know?
Yeah.
They'll work on banks. They'll work on bank accounts for big corporations. They'll work on pipelines and things like that. But as far as the average Joe, they're just going to call you and try to fool you. They're going to tell you that your Social Security account's been locked, your bank account's already been hacked. They'll have you go to a bank account and it looks just like yours, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean,
your brother's in the hospital and we need your social to verify the insurance.
Grandson's been busted in Mexico or somewhere out of the country, and you need to send money right away. Yeah, I mean, there's a million of them. But the thing about it is, people, is if you just think, you know, and I had one FBI tell me this. He said, if you question it, any question at all, it's wrong. So, like, if you think to yourself, wait a minute, why would my grandson be in Mexico? Boom.
Yeah.
You know, you've already questioned it, so you've already uncovered the fact that there's a problem. So anytime anybody calls you, if you immediately question, what software are they talking about that renewed that's going to come out of my bank account? Well, if you're already asking that, there's already a problem with that phone call.
And these people know what to do. They're preying on your
slick,
good
man.
nature, your helpfulness,
Right.
your love of your family or your friends. You know, I have them call me all the time from the Benevolent Policemen's Association, and would I like to donate? And I ask them, "Are you a peace officer?" And obviously the answer is no.
Yeah, they're not.
No, but
They're not even affiliated with the
not
police
at all.
department. Yeah.
People, they want to put in your mind, you've got a cop on the other end of the line, and what they're going through these days, and you want to help them or not, and donate to this and that. And, okay, well, just give me your credit card number, and we'll you know, put the $10 on it.
Even the whole pets thing, they'll call you about, you know, they have all these homeless pets. I'm like, hey, man, if you don't have Sarah McLachlan on the phone, I ain't donating anything. So I want to hear her sing. If she can sing Call of the Angels or whatever that song is, then yeah, we'll do it. But other than that, no. Yeah. So, you know, they have a million different ways to hit us. The bad thing is that it's actually warfare. This is the new war that we fight.
Right.
And unfortunately, everybody's a possible victim. So like I said before, you need to make sure that you're firm and that you don the habiliments of warfare mentally, and you call these people out. If you suspect that they're not legitimate, go ahead and call them out. Let's say it is the FBI. Let's go there and say the FBI really is calling you. And you call them dumb motherfuckers and this, that, and the other, and how dare you try to rip me off and this, that, and the other. They'll just call you back, you know? And they're not going to take it personally because they already know you're getting hacked all day long, you know?
Yeah.
Had a guy call me today. He's another IT person. And he wanted to talk about doing some DNS work on a website and this, that, and the other. Well, as soon as he started off, you know, he even stopped and said, sorry, dude. He goes, I don't want you to think I'm a hacker because I know that just sounded that way. And I was just getting ready to let him have it, you know? And he ended up telling me, he goes, I'm working for the same client as you. They are this client, which was my client. And he started to give me information that I knew was legitimate. So I was willing to take the phone call at that point. But if these people don't have all of the account information, so if they're calling you, they're saying they're from Amazon, they don't have your account information, they're full of shit. And you need to tell them they're full of shit. Right. Tell them they're a rip-off, they're full of shit, you're not going to have it, and that'll get you off the list. You fall off that list, then when the next one calls, you fall off that list, and before you know it, the phone calls will stop. I hardly ever get calls anymore. I'm kind of sad about it, but hey.
I bet you are.
You know, but that's the best way that I can tell you to protect yourself. As far as your computers at home go, there's good antivirus software that's free. Avast is one of those. Malwarebytes is another. We use Malwarebytes all the time. I mean, it's a good piece of software.
I've gotten to the point where my flag goes up when I get a pop-up that says you need to update your Norton or your Malwarebytes. So I'm thinking, are you really you?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't do my updates. I know I need to.
Yeah, need to do your updates. And a lot of people don't realize that Windows updates are important too. There's a lot of security fixes and patches that automatically come with those Windows updates Windows updates usually come out on Wednesdays and get applied on Thursday. So if something goes funky with your computer that you're not used to, think of the date. If it's Thursday, it could have been an update that did it. And a lot of times you can go and uninstall that update and fix whatever problem you've got before you have to take it to an IT person.
Right.
So computer problems, what day is it? If it's Thursday, chances are it was an update.
I wonder why that is.
They release them on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't really know why, but
It works for them.
yeah, it's
somehow.
always been the way it's been done.
So malware bites.
Yeah, Avast, malware bites. And then as far as your email goes, be very careful. And even if you get an email from a person that you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that person sent you that email.
Exactly.
You know?
Seen that before,
So,
too.
oh, yeah. Emails get spoofed all the time. And so when you get an attachment, just pick up the phone. It'll give you an opportunity to say hello to that person anyway. And maybe you can, get a few words in because, heck, Lord knows because of electronics, we don't talk anymore. So call Bill up and say, hey, Bill, I just got this email and it's got an attachment. Did you send it to me? If your bank sends you an attachment, same thing. You can call them. They'll know a legitimate piece of mail over an illegitimate piece of mail. So what do you do with the illegitimate mail? Okay?
Trash it?
You right-click on it and delete it. Do not left-click on it because a lot of times that'll open it. Just right-click on it and delete it. Get rid of it. Let it go. And then make sure you clean out your deleted items if you use Outlook or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gmail has a lot built into it that'll get rid of a lot of spam, but stuff still makes it through all the time. If you have your own business email, like .com email, chances are those filters have been disabled, and so you're going to get pretty much everything.
I'll tell you what blew me away the other day. I went to go empty my trash out because I've been deleting stuff and on my phone, emails.
Yeah.
It's such an easy swipe, delete.
Right.
And I thought, I need to probably just get in there and throw that away if for nothing else, and all the data it's got stacked up in there. I couldn't believe all the stuff that went to my trash and my spam that I didn't never see.
Oh, yeah.
The program took care of it itself and dumped it in there. It's
I like to read. I like to read a lot of those. They're always fun.
Yeah, I don't want to click on them.
Yeah, I read a bunch of them. But, we have to do forensics on stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of times people will send us emails, and I get a kick out of them because it's always something new. These guys are always trying something creative. Another thing you need to look out for is if you work for a company and you get an email from the IT people who want you to change your password, call those guys up, and say, hey, I got an email from y'all. Is this cool or not? Or is this something I'm supposed to do? It may have the letterhead. It may look exactly like an email you would normally get from your company. But it's phishing. It's just a way to get that password out of you so that person, the hacker, can go in and use your password to make intrusion into the system and fuck things up.
Yeah. Phishing.
Yeah.
Phishing and Trojan Horses.
Right. Well, you know how the CIA got hit, right?
Phishing?
No. The CIA got hit through flash drives. So, cool, yeah. So, hackers decided, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some flash drives. I'm going to load some Trojan Horses on here, And then I'm going to label the flash drive. And I'm going to make it to where it says layoffs 2016, I think was the date. And then they just laid them out in the parking lot for people to find. So,
and
you're walking along.
Your curiosity is going to say, am I getting laid off?
Exactly. So they're picking them up and going, layoffs 2016. Wow, an executive must have dropped this. So they go right inside and stick that image in their computer. Done.
Yeah.
And that's how the CIA got hit.
Plugged it right in?
Plugged it right in. And a lot of companies that we deal with now have a zero flash drive policy. You can't come in with a CD. You can't come in with a flash drive. You can't download software. You can't do anything.
Yep.
They're locked down as tight as possible. And these are companies that still get hit.
Mm-hmm.
And look at our government agencies. They're as tight as you can get. And they still get hit.
Yeah.
Our electrical grid. I know China's been in our electrical grid. They haven't turned it off, but they probably got the keys to it. They could do it. Probably just waiting,
Mm-hmm.
The pipeline, they just waited for the right time and hit it. And I guarantee they took forever because they wanted to make sure they had corrupted sets of backups, because they probably used revolving backups. And over a period of time, they said, okay, these guys can't have a good backup anymore. So we'll encrypt them now.
Right.
You know, $5 million is what they paid.
And
That's a lot of money.
You've got a company, and
know?
you've got $5 million, but you've got millions of people panicking at the same time.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had no choice. They had to pay. There was no way around that deal.
Right.
You know? So, and when you think about it, what was it? That was $4.8 billion annually. It was up 60% over 2019. $4 billion, not million, billion. And where's the money going? Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't care. It's $4.8 billion been stolen from Americans." I care. Is it going to nuclear programs? Is it going to terrorist activities? Is it going to more corruption at the border? Is it going to more corruption on Facebook and places like that? Because you know there's hackers that just work social media. I mean, that's what they do. Facebook owns, I think, it's either an 8-story or 10-story building in LA, I believe, and all they have in there are people from the United States federal government that are there just to try to thwart the hacking activities that's going on social media. Social media is a lot more important than most people give it credit for. They think that it's just something to get on, but it's the biggest data collection out there. The FBI dumped most of their tools and decided to go with Facebook because it gives them way better resources. They look up somebody's Facebook and they've got their whole life. You know, they know who their friends are, where they go out to eat, what they spend their money on, what kind of music they like, what they do. I mean, if you want to profile somebody, Facebook's the way to go. You know?
Yeah.
And almost everybody's got a Facebook account.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people who have recently gotten off Facebook. And I think that trend is going to continue until they get a handle on it or until they break it up. Because it's considered a monopoly. And personally, I think it does need to be broken up. And they can break it up into several different aspects of social media, but not have the whole thing grouped together.
It's just too big and too powerful.
Right. And as far as data collection goes, I think data collection against the average Joe should be illegal in America, and we need to lobby against that shit. The cell phone companies should not be recording every text, every phone call, and everything you do, and having it go to that cell tower by your phone screaming, "Here I am, here I am, here I am." Whether you're getting a phone call or not, your phone's constantly saying, "Here I am." So when you're moving around, when you're driving through town, when you're going out to eat, it's always saying, "Here I am." It's using GPS. It's good within about 6 feet of where you actually are.
Yeah.
And now Google, years ago, they decided it would be smart when they mapped out all the streets to map out all the wireless networks too. So all the private wireless networks that are out there, your phone's also saying, "Here I am."
Yeah.
And I'm attached to this wireless network.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just more data. But yeah, so we got to get rid of this kind of data collection against Americans. It shouldn't be legal. It shouldn't be right. And you know, do what you can. By default, your phone is wide open. Get online and learn what you need to turn off. You know, application updates in the background should be turned off. Location awareness should be turned off. If you're not using your GPS, turn it off. Now, there's no guarantee on Apple iPhones that actually does anything because they're so cryptic about what they do. But lately, they've been taking a pretty good stand for the consumer instead of against the consumer. So I am glad about that. But I'm telling you guys, you might not think you do a lot with your phone, but go ahead and write it down for a couple days. Everywhere you go, everything you do, every time you answer it, every time you talk to mom, your sister, your brother, whoever, every email you sent, every text message you send, every SMS you send through Facebook, every post you make, all that data is being collected. None of it is just, oh, it's going to that person and that's it. It's all being collected. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's a war on our personal security. It's a war on our privacy, and we really need to do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the best that I can say about cybersecurity today. I mean, it's a complex business. What we do is really complicated, and most people don't understand that what we do takes a very long time to accomplish. We can't just go into a company and have them locked down in 24 hours. It doesn't work that way. It's very complex. There's a lot going on. And so we're constantly learning ourselves. how to battle against this. And the theater is constantly changing. So, new things come up on a continual basis, new exploits, new ways to get in, new ways to use collected data. It's a nightmare, and it's a nightmare that will always evolve. It's never going to end. Right. And the more technology and the more technologically advanced we become, the more ways people are going to find to steal our money. And that's really what this is about. If you get a phone call from somebody, and I know I'm harping on this, but it's my pet peeve, like I said. If you get a phone call from an asshole who says, your Amazon order for an iPhone 12 for $400, there's something wrong with it and you need to press 1 to cancel that order. These people are attempting to steal your money. That's what they're doing. They're trying to rip you off. And so they should be treated with that same, that's the way I want to try. I want to retaliate instantly. I'm like, you're not stealing from me, you son of a bitch. Don't talk to them. Don't give them nothing. Cuss them out. Let them know they're pieces of shit, because that's what they are. And then you'll eventually get off the list and you won't be getting those phone calls anymore. Are you safe and protected after that? Absolutely not. You got to be vigilant. Got to take time, get online, do what research you can, find out what you can about hacks like the pipeline hack and the meat packing deal that Mark was discussing, and everything else that you can, and try your best to protect yourself. But it does start with the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are antivirus software, good passwords that you never give to anybody, never using the same password for multiple organizations.
Listen to your red flags.
Listen to your red flags. If you have a question, there's a problem. That's it. As soon as you question it in your mind, there's something wrong, and you need to know that there's something wrong. So if I've saved anybody $1 today, I'm glad, man. Because like I said, I know
great information. I know I'm going to be making some adjustments too.
I know a lot of people that have been hit, and it just makes me mad. I know that we're at war in 100 different ways with many, many, many countries out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not the worst case scenario is not a bunch of landing craft opening up and tons of streaming soldiers onto your shore.
Mm-hmm.
It's cyber.
Yeah.
We're going to shut your
the worst case scenario really is that you do something you think is right, and you think the safest thing for you to do, and it results in you losing your life savings.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a friend that actually happened to. She's an older lady, and when she was telling me what was going on, because she brought me her computer and it was messed up. I mean, it was locked up. As soon as you turned it on, it wanted a password, and the hackers locked it up. But she had already paid out almost all of her life savings.
So they were milking her a little by little.
Oh, yeah, in multiple payments. They just kept hitting her over and over and over again.
These people have no conscience.
No, they don't. And she thought she was actually doing the right thing to protect herself and her husband and their bank account. And, they were just conning her. I mean, they're good cons. And
yeah, they know what works.
And the bad thing is these people and what it's called perfect cloaking. They're perfectly cloaked. They cannot be caught. I mean, I think that over a period of time, if they make a mistake, eventually, yes. But for the most part, they can't be caught. I mean, if they could, the FBI would have been on top of this.
Yeah.
It's
not like they can just look at an IP address and go, oh,
right.
it's this guy.
When my number got ported over, we got in touch with the FBI. We got in touch with local police enforcement and everything. I never heard back from any authorities on anything. They never found anybody, and those guys did get they made some purchases on a credit card. Another credit card company covered it because they knew it was a hack. We were able to prove it. But, like I said, if we wouldn't have been diligent and wouldn't have been right on top of it, and they'd have cleaned us out.
Yeah.
Just
a matter of minutes.
And I'm in the business. This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mitigation is what we do. So I mean, it was unusual that they hit me, but they didn't know who I was. And, they just found a number that was good.
Yeah. You were next on the list.
That's right.
A list of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions.
Yeah. So you got to do the things that I know suck. I know it sucks to have a long, complicated password that's hard to remember. I know it sucks to have a passcode on your phone. And a lot of people say, well, I have facial recognition. Facial recognition can be beat. Go with both. Go with facial recognition and a passcode. Anything you can do to double your security is way better than doing nothing
Some
at
of
all.
them have fingerprints now, right?
Yeah. And fingerprints seem to work out pretty good, but I've defeated those too, just by breaking that part of the device. So I've done it on laptops that were locked up.
Yeah.
So,
Do you get the feeling that somewhere there's a Nigerian prince that's incredibly upset that nobody takes his emails seriously?
that would be too cool.
Poor guy, you know?
That would be too cool.
But I am a Nigerian prince.
Yeah, but if you read those emails, it's always got misspellings. It's always got bad grammar. You know, I mean, they're obviously not written by anybody who has English as their adopted language, their first language. You know, and you can tell when you're talking to these people on the phone even. I mean, they know enough English to get this job done, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, they'll get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off, they're making more than we are. You know, I mean, I make a decent living. I'm not rich by any means. These people are getting rich.
Well, they'll send out 1,000 emails a day and they'll get 2 replies.
Fishing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you send out 100,000, and they do, they send out 100,000. If 2 or 3 come in, and out of those 2 or 3, one person loses their life savings, it could be $20,000, $30,000.
Sure.
It was worth sending all those emails. Plus, nowadays, sending that many emails is automatic.
Oh, all right.
You know, so they have machines to do it, and it's just it's a disaster. You know, but it pisses me off that they think we're stupid, and they do. You know, it makes me mad they think we're stupid. It makes me mad they're willing to steal from old people who've worked their whole life for the little bit they've got, and they end up losing it to some asshole.
Well, these are criminals, and you can't expect the criminal mind to have any empathy or any conscience,
Right.
for anybody's feelings or life savings or how it's going to hurt their life, you know?
And the problem is that a lot of these things are done, the way they're done is so technologically advanced that the police can't even fight it.
Right.
You know, because they don't know what to do. I mean, they go to the first step, and after the first step, it's a ghost. There's nothing there.
Right.
You know, so they don't know how to fight it.
They've covered
And
their
then,
tracks.
You know, and things like, you know, cryptocurrency, that doesn't help at all because, you know, you can get $1 million in cryptocurrency and it's completely 100% untraceable, you know? So, I mean, wow. You know, but you can't make cryptocurrency illegal either because it has a good purpose. Everything is yin and yang. You know, there's always a good thing and a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our technology today has been one of the greatest things that's ever happened to us. And for some people, it's been the worst thing that's ever happened.
Right.
So the best thing you can do is try. You know, I mean, you can't just keep computing and think nothing's ever going to happen. You can't keep answering the phone and talking to these assholes and going, oh, no, you know, the Social Security Administration's mad at me and there's a warrant for my arrest. Bullshit. You know, if you didn't do anything, there's not a warrant for your arrest. You know?
I got a call from Harris County 7 or 8 years ago. And
well, I'm glad you got that cleared up.
The guy on the phone, very official sounding, like he should be,
Yeah.
telling me that I was behind on my child support and my license is going to be revoked.
Oh, yeah.
All kind of terrible stuff is going to happen to me and penalties, and I could be arrested. And I said, well, my daughter's like 21 and I haven't been late on anything. I've got documents saying all that's over with. He goes, yes, I understand that, but we've done an audit and we've looked and you owe $1,200 and you can clear that up. In fact, we'll make a deal with you if you just want to pay half of it.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Yeah. As soon as they start that, yeah.
So that was complete BS. At first, I was like, oh, crap. I thought this was over with. Oh, no.
Yeah. My first question always is, okay, so what's my name? If they got your name, say, okay, what's my Social Security number?
I don't remember if they knew my name or not.
They're not going to have it.
But, you know, a lot of the court records are public record anyway.
Right, but they won't include Social Security numbers,
Right.
driver's license numbers, pertinent information
Right.
that those guys would have if they were legit.
Right.
You know, so you can always find out if they're legit. So, yeah, you just got to be diligent, you know. Kick their ass, put them out of business, and what I'd like to see is that $4.8 billion number go down to about $35. And
That's
that would
just
make me laugh.
In the United States in 1 year?
That's in the United States in 1 year.
I wonder what it
and
is
that's
worldwide.
And I separated the data out, so I didn't want it to be commercial. I want it to be consumers only. That's consumers. Me and you.
Yeah.
You know, Joe, Bill, Bob. That's just your average person. 4.8 billion. And here's the thing, dude. I looked. They said that well over 80% of that money is out of the country. It went out of the country, you know, because that's where these guys operate. They operate beyond our shores. You know, it's safer for them to operate in that environment. They can still make themselves look local. It's a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people over 50, 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion. And, you know, when you think about it, and you think to yourself, damn, man, 1.2 billion, that's a lot of money, you know. But it's pensions, it's savings, it's Social Security money, it's what people, you know, 401ks, it's what people have worked for their whole life, man. You know, and some asshole's going to take it on a lie.
Yeah.
You know,
Scooping up the nest eggs.
yeah, just makes me mad. So
Well,
that's-
I'm going to do some changing of my passwords and how I go about operating things, and probably get rid of some apps
yeah.
and
Yeah, just turn off location awareness, and there's a lot of stuff. And actually, in some of the phone apps I've even seen, it'll tell you what they do with that data. Now, they may not tell you everything they do with that data, but they'll tell you what they do with that data. And so, you know, it's another serious form of protection that we need today, is safeguarding the privacy of your life. You don't want private things about Mark Hogan being in the hands of some dick you've never met before. You know? I mean, because when they start adding all that data together and building a profile about who Mark Hogan is, who knows what will be done with that at any point in the future. You know what I mean? So, I mean, to me, it's as valuable, your security and your privacy is as valuable as your money. You know? So we should be lobbying against these big data collection outfit and all, yeah.
What do you think about these identity theft protectors? Like LifeLock is a big one that comes to mind.
LifeLock's a great deal.
Yeah.
I recommended LifeLock to one of my buddies about, God, this was back in probably 2004. And about a month after, you know, I asked him about it. I said, hey, man, you know, so how's LifeLock working out? And I don't know how much it is, but at that time, I think it was $98 a year. And they had a $1 million policy guarantee on that $98 that you would spend. And he told me he stopped getting, that's, you know, snail mail that comes in your mailbox. He stopped getting advertisements. Every time somebody tries to get a credit card in his name, he gets a phone call. You know, anytime a certain amount gets spent on his debit card, like he's got, and I think you can set it for like $50 or something. If somebody tries to go and spend $54 somewhere, he gets a phone call. And it's not an email, it's a phone call. They call you. And I thought, man, LifeLock's fantastic. They constantly monitor your
live in real time.
Yeah, they constantly monitor your credit reports. And I mean, it's a good deal. Of course, it's $100 a year, but LifeLock's a great deal.
Yeah. Could save you everything.
VPN tunnels are another great deal too. A lot of people have decided to go to VPN tunnels. Now, it only offers you limited protection.
What exactly is that?
Instead of you getting on your own network at home, which is wide open, even if it's like a secured wireless network, you're still basically broadcasting. And you're surfing. Your connection alone can get you infected by viruses and things that can, in the long run, affect your finances by you getting ripped off. So you get on a VPN, you're basically getting on a secure network where it kind of cloaks who you are and cloaks your own network. So it does limit a lot of activity. You can still get a bad email from somebody that you click on and still get infected. There's other things that can still happen, but that VPN does offer one level of protection. And that's what this whole thing really is about. It's about protecting yourself level by level by level, you know, and it's really not that complicated. Anybody, even 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds can do it. It just takes a little bit of research, not much at all. Anybody who can read, get online, and make sure you know, and I can't believe I have to say this again because I've said it before. Make sure you get your news, whether it be news about cybersecurity, news about current affairs, news about politics and what's going on with the people that allegedly manage this country that we have absolutely no control over. make sure you get your news from a reliable source. Reliable sources are not Facebook. Reliable
Right.
sources are not SMS messages that you get. Reliable sources are not YouTube videos. Reliable sources, believe it or not, are going to be the big media companies, ABC, CBS, NBC, and those you got to be careful of what's being said too. You've got to be able to disseminate information on your own, be an intelligent individual. If the news is very important to you, make sure you get it from several different sources, and you can disseminate what the actual truth really is. Don't go with one source because you're going to get screwed.
And don't go with just Google or something like that, because Google's going to show you what they deem appropriate for you to see.
Google's the biggest seller in the world. Google kind of scares me as much as all this does and everything else, because Google also are profile builders. They're big data guys.
Yeah.
So everything that you Google on Google gets stored somewhere.
What do you think about DuckDuckGo?
I've
heard.
Go.
Yeah, search engine.
All the search engines they're all in business for the same purpose, and that's to big data.
Yeah.
Data is worth money.
Yeah.
So even though they may claim they're not doing it, they're doing it. And they may claim they're not doing it, and they may not be doing it right now, but as soon as they see how much data they've actually got, somebody's going to say, hey,
that's worth a lot of
if
money.
we just took this piece, we're still not violating our data policy, but we've only got this piece. And then a couple of weeks down the road, but if we added this piece, we still wouldn't be violating our data policy, but now we get these two pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once the ball starts to roll, it'll roll all the way down the hill.
Duck, gone.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, and all of your anything that's big on the internet is, YouTube's the same way. YouTube is owned by Google. So every YouTube search you do, it's saying, okay, Hank Vat, Mark Hogan, whoever, he likes chimney caps. He likes to search for political this and that and the other on YouTube. He likes to watch videos about guitar playing. And next thing you know, wherever you're going, you're getting ads for guitars, chimney caps with guitars painted on them.
Yeah.
Just whatever the case may be. So they're there to sell to you. They're there to try to provide you with what you want. But really what they're doing is they're collecting data on you. They're making a profile on you. And if any time the authorities want that data, they get it. And that's a bad thing too, because gone are the days of we have to get a warrant, to come knock on your door or come in your house.
All that addresses your Fourth Amendment.
Yeah. Nowadays, they know what they're doing before they ever even go to a judge and get a warrant. They already know because they've built a whole profile. They know what you're capable of doing, what you've done, how many guns you have, how much ammo you have, the whole ball of wax. Just by your YouTube searches and your Google searches, the text messages and the social media posts you've made, so much can be known. It's a terrifying world that we live in.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, just try to protect yourself and do it layer by layer, and at least you'll be able to sleep a little bit better at night. But if you get a call, and I got to say it again, if you get a call from these assholes, cuss them out, man. And I mean, be firm. If they know that you're on to them, you'll get dropped off that list. And it may take you 100 calls to get dropped off.
You might be on 100 lists.
Yeah, but they'll eventually drop you off the list. They'll say, we don't want to jack with this dude. He knows.
Yeah.
And they don't want to talk to anybody who knows because they still feel inside that the potential for them to get caught's there. And so if they're talking to somebody who knows, they may slip up and say something, so they don't want you. They take you off the list. They dump you.
Here's one.
And it gives you a lot of satisfaction to cuss those bastards out and let them know that you're not an idiot and nobody's getting a dime.
At least you make you feel a little better.
Yeah.
So I get these calls, not as often as I used to, in Chinese.
Awesome. I get them every once in a while. I like them. That's cool.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get them in Spanish all the time.
And if I could understand what they're saying and push the right button to get a live person, I would love to tell her, hey, I don't speak Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah.
But I can't get anywhere. I don't know what the value is on that for them.
I love the point that you just made, too, because we were talking about phishing a little while ago.
Yeah.
And that's what phishing is.
Are they looking for a Chinese person?
Yeah. I don't know what the percentage of of the population is that would speak that language, but there is a percentage, and they're sending out hundreds of thousands of calls just to see who's going to bite, you know, and they may get 50,000 rejections, but if they get 1 or 2 yeses, it could pay for all those rejections, you know. So yeah, it's telephone phishing is what it is. It's, in a way, it's awesome. In a way, they're kind of smart for doing it, but not on my watch.
Well, nobody's
not
ever
with my
accused them
people.
of being stupid. That's,
You know?
that's
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah, because very seldom do you hear that one of these call centers got taken down.
Right.
Very seldom do you hear that a big hacker group got busted. You know, so I mean, it just doesn't happen anymore. Now, back in the good old days, you know, when you could basically get down to somebody's IP address and go knock on the teenager's door and go, "Look, dude, you can't do that." You know.
Right.
That's what it used to. But nowadays, it's sophisticated, man.
Big,
You know.
worldwide business in
Yeah.
the billions and billions of dollars.
And they make it look local, so they can't hide their accents, but they make it look like they're in the same town as you. They think they know about how the Social Security Administration runs, or the FBI, or Amazon, or whoever they say they're portraying at the time, but they don't.
Yeah.
And if you stay on the phone with them long enough, it's easy to tell.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still fall for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
So hacker guys out there, the scammers, call me. I can't wait to cuss you out. I love it. Makes me feel good. It makes my day. When I get up in the morning, I sometimes think, man, they're going to call sooner or later today. I'm going to let them have it, you know, because, I mean, I live a stressful life, and it gives me an opportunity to unload that stress on somebody I don't even know.
well,
And-
they have a value after all.
And you can ask people who are around me on a regular basis. I'm freaking mean to them people on the phone. I mean, just outright, they'll hang up quick.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll stay on and cuss me out back. And if they do that, that's even better.
I only
You
had
know?
only had one guy cuss me out, and he called me up and started giving me his spiel.
Yeah.
I mean, any idiot could know, you know, this wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I acted real interested. I sucked him right in.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that sounds great. Really? You mean I can pay it off and hang on just a second. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. What was that you were saying about the blue ones are only how much? Oh, that sounds great, man. I don't know if I could afford a dozen at a time. Hang on just a second. Don't go away. And then get him about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Come back. Okay, I'm back. And you let him you go some more, and you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You go for a minute. You go for 5 minutes. After about an 8-minute wait,
Yeah.
the guy's cussing before you put the. I know what you were doing, you son of a bitch.
That's it.
So-
And that's fun, but you're still on the list.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah,
And I've tried to be nice
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
wait
that's-
until I hear the
that's the worst thing you
recorded
could do.
crap. I push 2 to talk to a person. You get the person on the phone. They're excited because they haven't made their 50 cents phone call for in the last 2 hours. Hey there, who am I talking to? I say, hey, I know you're just trying to make a living, and you know we all got to do that, and I respect that. But let me just talk to you as a person. Can you please take me off the list? Just please.
And they always say they will, and
Yeah.
they don't.
Oh, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
An hour later, you get a call
Yeah.
from the same company or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be nice. Doesn't work. You know?
Yeah, but Betty said you were going to take me off the list. Well, Betty doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, you're off that list probably, but you're not off this one.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah, and those guys they have a lot of different income streams. One of those is selling lists back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
You know, we did it at CCOA.
Just a data transfer.
Yeah, we did it at CCOA, and I think back then we were selling email addresses for like 10 cents a piece. Doesn't sound like a whole lot until you're selling 500,000 of them. Now
Yeah.
you're making some money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's once or twice a week. We would purge our database and sell them out. We had people calling us from all over the country, you know, because they had call centers of their own,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we weren't ripping anybody off like these people are, but what we were doing wasn't all that great either, you know.
Yeah. Selling data.
Fortunately, I was just in the computer end of it, and I didn't have a whole lot to do with that. I was unable to make decisions on whether we did that or not, and so my deal was just keeping those machines running and keeping the guys that were in graphics doing graphics, keeping the database engineers running the database, keeping systems up and going, and that was my job.
Yeah.
And when the AG came in and said, "Hey, we're going to need your root password," I was like, "Absolutely no problem. Here you go. Have a nice day." And I told my boss on the way out, I said, "I will not be back. I'm done. That's it."
You got to
Never went back.
disassociate yourself with that.
Yeah, as quickly as humanly possible.
What happened to those people?
They went out of business,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that the owner is doing something else because he was that type of individual. He wasn't about to quit. Plus, he had literally a marketing battleship there. I mean, he had to use it for something,
Yeah.
because we had a big call center of our own. Like I said, a full-blown production studio that would rival like ABC-13's. I mean, we literally had a full-blown production studio downstairs, and we had a big mail room. Our mail, we had 3 mail trucks that would show up every day just to pick up our mail. I mean, we had that much mail, outgoing mail. 3 mail trucks.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was big business, man. Big business. And we were a national company. We sold all over the country. If you watched any infomercials during the 90s in the middle of the night, the get-rich-quick ones where they were shot in Hawaii and shot in California, yeah, man, that was us. We did all the editing, we did all the scripting, and all the legal work, and I mean, yeah, and that was us.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. It was
Well,
a good place to work.
You got anything else before we close this out?
Not really. It was weird being a guest on my own show.
Yeah, I like it over here.
And then it was odd, and it was odd talking about my work because I usually don't do that. Because we're under contract with a bunch of people, we can't really say who they are.
Right.
And so, that it's
Just in conversation with you, I knew you were leaving some stuff out that
yeah,
didn't need to be said, like who
yeah,
and why.
yeah, and what systems we secure and how we secure those
Right.
systems.
But
and,
you're the man, you know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And so I hope you took a lot of this to heart and you will act on it. Protect yourself, protect your nest egg, protect your finances and your family and possibly your life. And just take a look at especially your phone, but also your home PC, and see what you could do better. Anything you can do better will be, like Hank said, a layer against the warfare that's being waged on all of us. Hank,
that's it.
thank you so much, man.
Hey, no problem, man. It was good being on the show. So.
We'll see you next time.
All right, man.
We're out of here.
All right.